Residents and critics have strongly criticized the news of missing evidence in two high-profile cases. A well-known online news publication reports that evidence in the Kimberly De Leon and Chakadan Daniel cases is not missing, but rather stored in a facility in the south, contradicting Police Commissioner Vanguard's statements. National Security Minister, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, acknowledges the article but states that the Director of Public Prosecutions will handle the matter.
I've not spoken to the Commissioner of Police on that matter, but you must recall, I've made that point several times. There is a separation of powers. There is the executive, there is the judiciary, and there is the parliament. Three separate powers. Any issues as it relates to these kind of things, the Director of Public Prosecutions is the one who's normally contacted. I've not been officially briefed on that, but as you, I've heard it. But I've not been officially briefed by the Commissioner of Police. But I guess in that instance, the Director of Public Prosecutions may get involved.
Concerns have arisen about whether a national security minister should comment on missing evidence. Some people argue that this can blur the lines between political oversight and judicial independence. The National Security Minister cautioned against politicians getting involved in judicial matters, warning that it could lead to disorder and emphasizing the need to maintain a distinct separation of powers.
I want to urge you and urge St. Lucians, do not be fooled by anybody who wants to make you understand that the government can interfere in the judicial process. It is bad. It's bad for democracy. It's bad for the country, even though we may not agree. But the judicial process must be allowed to function according to the Constitution and the laws of St. Lucia. The separation of powers must be clear. Anytime there is no separation of powers, you have chaos.
The opposition United Workers' Party has heavily scrutinized Prime Minister Pierre for his limited involvement in matters of law enforcement. The head of government maintains that his administration is providing the necessary tools.
Our job is to make available the resources for the judicial process to take place. That is why we are building the halls of justice. That's why we're doing that. That's why we have a swift justice program. That's why we're doing that. But we cannot and we should not interfere in the judicial process. We are leading to chaos. And I just want to tell the public of St. Lucia, that is dangerous. When politicians get involved in the judicial process, it is dangerous. That is why, to make justice more accessible, St. Lucia went into the Caribbean Court of Justice for justice to be more accessible to regular people. The opposition criticized it. I just want you to be clear. And so, Miss, I just want to tell you to be clear, I am very careful. In spite of all the useless criticism that I get, I am very careful in not interfering in the judicial process. It's bad. It is dangerous. What we do is we make laws.
Most governments prefer to defer matters pertaining to missing evidence to the Police Commissioner, Attorney General, or Director of Public Prosecutions, while a National Security Minister typically addresses issues concerning accountability, transparency, and resources for investigations without commenting on specific facts of cases. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.